I'm worried about the Resident Evil 4 remake. I really shouldn't be, considering it's one of my all-time favorite games, one of the best Resident Evil games in my opinion. You know, a remake should be awesome. You'd think so. There's stuff to worry about though. I have 3 particular things that I'm going to talk about. I'm going to try and make this video a bit short, otherwise it's going to go on for too long. So I will be discussing some leaks, but only ones that address my points. So leave now if you don't want to get spoiled. Also, any leaks that I do discuss have the potential to be completely fake and bogus anyway. So depending on when you watch this video, some things that I talk about might not even be relevant. However, my opinions on what I talk about won't change, if that makes sense. So, for the first thing, like, Capcom have a habit of changing and outright cutting things in their remakes without really adding anything substantial. Resident Evil 3 Remake is more of a reimagining of the game, as entire locations have changed to being outright cut. The Umbrella Factory becoming another nest is a massive loss in my eyes. I hated that with a passion. The end of Resident Evil 3 felt unique to the prior 2 games, as it didn't end in a lab. The Clock Tower was a huge portion of the original Resident Evil 3, but it is completely removed from the remake, and nothing was added in its place. A longer hospital visit, I guess, but then we get that awful defense sequence, so it's not like we're really gaining anything. In addition to that, spiders were cut from Resident Evil 2 and 3 Remake, which isn't that big a deal, but when compared to Resident Evil 1 Remake, where every enemy was accounted for plus more, you know, the Crimson Heads and Lisa, Trevor, for example, it's a bit of a letdown. I'm going to talk about a leak now, so it's a potential spoiler, but apparently in Resident Evil 4 Remake at this current time, the Novista doors have been completely cut, which is weird because those enemies are awesome. I mean, they're also extremely irritating, but they are, you know, they're still pretty cool, especially in the sewer section where they can camouflage, because that's, on a first-time playthrough, that's pretty scary. So if this is true, it's not a massive letdown, but I'm not exactly going to be happy. There are other apparent cuts, but not outright removals like these guys, more like change encounters and encounter rates, you know, changed combat situations, things like that, which is expected in a remake. A big thing that I feel like needs to be addressed is the implementation of stalker enemies. You know, Mr. X, the Bakers, Lady Dimitrescu. In my opinion, I don't like them anymore. I think Capcom has used them over and over now, to the point of boredom and monotony. But now it's being reported that we'll have not one, but 2 stalkers, one being Mendez in his house, and the other being Verdugo at the castle. Capcom, please, from the bottom of my heart, stop. This obsession with enemies you can't kill and have to run away from is becoming fetish level. We've had literally 4 games in a row with them now. If it's something like the original Resident Evil 3, where you can actually take Nemesis down, but not permanently, then okay, sure, I understand why not, I'll get over it. But if it's anything like Village, where Dimitrescu can't even be stunned properly, then I will lose my mind. So I guess the last thing I'm somewhat not happy to hear is that Ada's campaign might be intertwined with Leon's. Now, I don't know if I'm in the minority here, but I really don't like that idea. I've always preferred it when the Resident Evil game separates the campaigns. Resident Evil 2 being a prime example. Playing the A scenario and getting all that story's events from start to finish, and then playing the B scenario that further explains what's going on, that's what I like. Ada's separate ways in Resident Evil 4, while technically being DLC, since the, well, not DLC, it's an add-on. The GameCube didn't have it. It got added in the PS2 release. It was good in the fact that you played as Ada and got to see what she was doing behind the scenes, and it also gave further backstory on her role and also Wesker's. Talked a bit about Krauser and the Las Plagas as well. Having this campaign instead being intertwined with the main story means that any info that could potentially spoil the campaign has to be drastically altered, which isn't a big deal, but we'll have to wait and see if they implement that effectively. Also, again, might be in the minority here, but I don't like it when a game swaps your character for an extended period of time. A big one is RE2 Remake, where in Claire's scenario, you play as Sherry in a long-winded hide-and-seek section. It is a low point in the game. It makes me not even actually want to play Claire's scenario, as it feels like the game just kind of stops for 15 minutes. Resident Evil 1 did this pretty well, where you play as Rebecca to either get the serum for Poison Chris, or to make the V-Jolt when he's grabbed by Plan 42. These sections literally take no longer than 5 minutes and don't feel intrusive, at least in my opinion. I guess the reason I feel this way is because sometimes these sections just feel like they take away from the overall experience, as these sections feel like you're wasting your time. Any enemies killed or items gathered almost never affect the main character's experience, so it feels disconnected from the overall experience. Again, again, this is a leak, so it could be false. So those are my 3 major concerns. I don't want to dive too deep on my opinions, because I have more, but I'm not going to, because this video would be about 4,000% longer, and I kind of wanted it to be short. There are way more leaks out there that I didn't really want to discuss either, but those are easy to find with a simple Google search, so if you're interested, just go look. Also, for people who watched despite the spoilers, I didn't really want to spoil too much, but again, the leaks could be fake. We don't know. I know this has been a completely negative video, but I just really want to say that I am looking forward to the Resident Evil 4 remake. I'm just really skeptical. I don't know if Capcom, I feel like they're going to fuck it up somehow, and it worries me a lot. So, what do you guys think? You looking forward to the new Resident Evil 4? Could you care less? Do you give a shit? Comment below and I'll read them, probably. I don't know, fucking, who knows. Anyway, see ya guys.